So, good evening, guys and girls. It's great to have you back. Thanks for joining us again. We've got a really interesting video for you tonight. We've got a video about it's a program in the UK for anybody listening overseas. It's a program on BBC, and it's called UK Politics. Usually on in the afternoon, and it's an interesting argument. You probably know about the Chagos Islands, or maybe you don't, but the Chagos Islands, that Britain was basically have been looking at. It's an island that's got a massive military base on, and it's some international court has decided that some woke international court without any teeth or any power has said to the UK that they think that they should basically hand it back to the people that should have it now rather than the UK, because it's like a colonial thing, colonisation issue going back, and it's and our Britain's dirty colonisation history, and and it's basically to do with that, and the fact that we should hand it back. Even though it's a massively important base, I think it's Diego Garcia base that's on there, and American base, and so we're basically going to hand it back, and we're going to pay for the privilege, basically, millions, billions over 100 years for them to take it off us. So we're not just giving it back, we're actually paying for them to take it, which is insane. And it's all about woke. It's all wokeness, really. An international court has decided it, because we've got weak governments in the UK now, both the Conservatives that aren't Conservatives and the Labour Party, which is so woke, it's unbelievable. That they've just agreed to it. They just agree to it, and they're doing a deal, and they're trying to paint it as it's really important. They're trying to paint with the fact that we're paying for it going ahead, that it's really massive. They're forgetting the fact that we're just giving it away, and an international court told us to do it, which we should just ignore. There's no reason to actually, because the international courts are just full of woke lefties. So they're basically telling us to give this away, and pay for the privilege, and they're trying to paint this as something that Labour are trying to. Oh, we're securing our future for 100 years, when they didn't even have to give the island away in the first place. They basically just keep it, and we could keep our money. But they've decided to do this now. We were hoping in the UK, that Trump would stop it, would put the kibosh on it, as they say. But that has not been the case. He seems to have been happy to agree to it for some reason, which you'd have thought, from the sort of his narrative mentality, the way he's trying to move things in America, move things sort of back to the right, that he would definitely said no chance, we're not doing that, and knocked it on the head, but unfortunately not. So we're stuck with this. We're going to be giving it away, and we're going to be paying for the privilege. So this was a row basically between an MP called Lucy Powell, who's a Labour MP, so within the government that's in power in the UK at the moment, and Richard Holden, who's a bit of a bumbling idiot, really. But he had got a point in this argument, but it really got quite heated, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting to watch what transpires. This is a sort of behaviour that you have with MPs these days. They're so low calibre. With the MPs on both sides are so low calibre, that this is what it's like a couple of little children, basically. But and then of course Lucy Powell tries to blame Liz Truss for destroying the economy. It gets into who destroyed the economy, and then obviously Liz Truss was in for 5 minutes as a prime minister. But of course, all the reason why they got rid of Liz Truss was the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, the WEF, all the globalist organisations within Europe and the Bank of England all decided that Liz Truss was not going to be in power, and she wanted to implement a really good new budget, which would lower corporation tax and make it very business friendly, the UK, and very attractive to operate in. Totally the opposite to what Labour are doing now. Anyway, I've talked long enough, so let's have a look at this video. It's and see what you guys think. It's quite interesting. Gets quite heated. So here we go.
We were started under a Conservative government.
Absolutely, the negotiation with Mauritius about the future. However, it's very important at that point to then say that was under no point was any idea that Britain was going to give away over £18 billion.
That's nonsense. Hang on, just before we jump to the figures that are involved.
They're nonsense. They're nonsense.
Well, what are they then, Lucy?
You know they're nonsense.
What are they then?
They're nonsense, and you know they're nonsense.
Well, hang on.
You don't know, do you, Lucy?
No, they're nonsense.
You don't know, do you?
They will become clear, but I know that they are nonsense.
Right. Well, let's talk.
And so it's ridiculous.
Well, Richard and
so
Lucy,
you want to get onto that whilst ducking the very important issue here, which is, it's in our national interest and it's in our national security.
Absolutely not in our national interest.
It's in our national.
It's in China's national interest.
Don't shout over me. Don't shout over me.
Just keep it calm.
Not a good look. It's in our national security. You can't even answer the
question about how much it's going to cost.
Are you talking over me again?
I'm asking you.
Are you talking over me again?
You asked me.
Are you?
Richard,
okay, can I speak?
Richard and Lucy, just
can I speak?
Just cool it.
Right,
well, hang on. I will come back to you.
Stop speaking over me.
But Lucy, answer the question about the cost.
It is in our national security and in our national interests to get a long-term arrangement to keep that important military base.
I mean, Lucy, do you know any of the opinions of the US government about this, or around? Can you tell us the money?
Do you know the negotiations that your government were doing? Were you privy to those?
I wasn't part of them.
No, you weren't.
No,
you weren't.
I wasn't part of them all.
No, you weren't.
But I mean,
you weren't.
Well, let him finish.
Okay, you weren't.
Rather than talking over me, as you criticise me for, I'm losing a rag about this, Lucy, because you can't even tell. You accuse me of not being aware of what the situation, but your government's literally putting this forwards at the moment.
Well, let's just see if we can make a bit of progress in terms of the money.
The figures that are being bandied about by Richard and others are nonsense. The full details have yet to be agreed. They've not been signed off. I've not seen. They've not been signed off by Cabinet or by anybody else.
They're never,
so there was extensive conversations. He doesn't know.
No, well, you say you don't know the content of those conversations and negotiations for obvious reasons.
It's very clear that the current government minister sat next to me has no idea of anything and criticises. Can we just finish? And criticises the figures that I'm putting forwards, but herself has no idea. At the moment,
I do have an idea. I know they're nonsense.
Hang on.
Well, you just said it. Well,
I know they're nonsense, but I'm not claiming to know something I didn't know, and you're claiming to know something you didn't know.
You
said you had no detailed conversations.
Lucy, let him finish.
You didn't know.
You've literally agreed it'd be billions, but I
haven't agreed it'd be billions. I haven't agreed anything. I said that figure was nonsense. That's all I said. That figure.
Well, let's just say 9 billion and 18.
That figure is nonsense.
Let's see when it comes forwards.
This is traitorous levels of national sabotage by Starmer. Was it traitorous levels of national sabotage when these negotiations were started by Liz Truss?
There's a totally different thing between having a negotiation with somebody and an outcome which basically surrenders sovereignty and hands over billions and billions of pounds of taxpayers' money.
All right.
Let's go. Lucy.
Let's say 9 billion divided by 100. Do your maths.
£100 million a year. Yeah.
Not hundreds and hundreds, which is what you just said.
It could be if it's 80.
Which hundreds and hundreds. You totally exaggerate everything on the baseless
facts. Don't talk over each other because the audience can't.
Come on this programme with baseless facts. You don't know about it. You're not serious. Your party are not serious about government. We're trying to protect. We are trying to protect our national interests. We are trying to protect a military base that is under threat, which you know it is, which is why you started. You're not serious about government at all. You're just now in the warm bath of opposition, coming on programmes, being baseless facts, shouting over people because you've got nothing to say and you're not serious. Get some security briefing and then you might know what's going on.
We'll see who's shouting over people. I think if people are talking about hundreds of millions of pounds a year over the 99 years, front-loaded,
but they're not.
What is that?
Well, they're not talking about.
That's literally what has been agreed by government.
And actually, Lucy, it was a question raised. It was a question raised about priorities in terms of spending.
So there we go. Got quite heated there, and they're right. He's right. He's Richard Holden because it's been very cloak and dagger, all this. Nobody knows what they're going to give away. More money, giving more money away. The British taxpayers are struggling to pay and make ends meet, and they just seem to want to give our money away left, right and centre to everything and everybody. We've got $9 billion a year being spent on hotels for migrants, and now we want to give a load of money away for somebody to just take the Chagos Islands off us. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again. If you can, subscribe. We're just building this channel up, hopefully. We are, as you can see, we are the Vantage Point, and I'm looking to bring more interesting content and more rows, if I can, in future, between politicians mainly, on both sides of the pond. We want to try and help to show the British people what's going on in America, sort of break away from the BBC and Sky and Channel 4 narrative that all they do is just paint Donald Trump in a really negative way. Everything's negative no matter what he does. He could save a child from a burning house and it would be negative. So we want to point out what is actually happening over in America, and we want to help. If we get American viewers, we want them to see what's happening in the UK, and try and explain things on either side. I've been watching politics for 10 years now on both sides of the Atlantic, and it's something that I really love and enjoy and like to explain and talk about. So hopefully, I'm not an expert, but I like to put my perspective on things. And you might argue, and if you do argue, you can put some comments, down, and let's sort of discuss it and see where we go. That's the whole point of talking about these things. Everybody's got a different opinion, and it's interesting. So anyway, great to see you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us again. Hopefully, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. See you again.